This is More Than Reality podcast, where we dive into all things faith, family, and marriage and share that there is so much more than the reality that you see on the surface. Welcome to More Than Reality with Adam and Danielle Busby.
What's up?
Hey.
It's episode 35 of More Than Reality podcast.
Yes. 35. We're making our way in there.
So we've had a crazy of a whirlwind of a week.
Man, and it's like summer start. Like it's like 3 days into like summer or something like that. Like I feel like I can't even keep up with like what today is.
Yeah, now that the kids are out of school, but
so it just feels like a Saturday or like a Sunday or something, you know?
I know. It's like a totally different like pace of life now that all the kids are back home.
Which means
every
no
day,
alarms.
all day.
Which is amazing.
I don't know. Alarms. I guess I shouldn't have to wake up as early as I normally do, but...
No, because then you wake me up and I'm like, that's rude.
Because I still set my alarm to the same time and just go to the gym. Actually, I will like kind of sleep like an extra 30 minutes or so.
I know, which means you snooze. Like when we were in...
Which is kind of pointless because then I'm just like snoozing I think the iPhone, it like resets itself like every 9 minutes or something like that.
No, like in the airport when we had to fly home the other day.
Yeah.
The alarm was set for like 4 a.m. or something. And mine was like set for like 4:05 or like 4:08. And yours went off and you didn't touch it. It just kept going and going and going. I'm like,
because I had my normal alarm set for like 5 a.m. for whenever I go to the gym. And I just adjusted that alarm for the day to wake me up at 4. And it's an alarm that starts off really quiet.
Yeah.
And usually I can like wake up really quickly whenever I'm at home. But it was a long weekend, late nights, early mornings, whenever we were in Indianapolis for the race. And we had to be up super early to get to the airport to fly back to Houston. And it was just that alarm that just like starts off real quiet. And I guess you heard it and I didn't.
I did. I heard it and I'm like, he's not going to press that button.
I heard it after like 5 minutes or something like that. But
anyway, so anybody else relate? Does your husband's or spouse alarm go off and they choose to not press the snooze button and they're just going to snooze through?
I normally wake up before the alarm goes off and just like turn it off. But not that day.
Not that day. Yeah. I was waking up. That's usually around the time I wake up and I have to like pee. I was like, looked at the clock and I'm like, no, then I have to get up in a few minutes. And then your alarm started going off. And I was like, but my alarm didn't go off yet. He's not going to press the alarm. Should I get up? No. I was like my own battle within myself of like, do I press it? Do I get up? Do I go pee? Do I just stay in bed because it's a couple more minutes? And then...
So Danielle had her first Indy 500 experience.
Yep.
We had my parents drive in from Louisiana. They came and stayed with the girls. They brought 2 of the cousins from Louisiana to stay. It's funny how it's almost easier when you bring more kids in the equation that aren't normally here because they just entertain themselves. And so it makes it, even though you're adding more kids, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Because it keeps them occupied and keeps them playing with, you know, especially their cousins that they don't see that often.
Because it's just funny because like mom and dad are coming here to
watch 6
kids and then they bring 2 more. Like, okay. But it is easier.
It is easier for sure.
I mean, we always find that like whenever, especially now that summer's kicked off, the girls are like, can such and such come to play? We're like, sure.
Literally, we've been home
home
for 2 nights and they've had a friend sleep over for 1 night and then the next night, another night.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever, guys, like YOLO, summertime. Yeah. They're constantly, you know, it's been 1 kid each night, which is sometimes not the norm. Like usually it's like 2.
Yeah.
We were going to head out to Splashway and do like a summer kickoff, but the weather just is not in our favor. And it's been like stormy, nasty. It's going to be like that. So we've postponed it. We're still going to do it because we love a Splashway, little kind of like kind of like a staycation, but it is like an hour or so away, hour and a half away.
Like we've been doing that every year since the kids were like really young. And we actually skipped Splashway last summer.
Last summer we did
because
Kalahari.
we did Kalahari because Kalahari invited us out. And then,
which was super fun and stuff too. But that's a little
we'd
bit further.
never been there before, and it was in Round Rock, and so
Yeah.
it didn't really, we did the water park thing to kick off summer, but
So this summer kickoff was really Adam and Danielle going to Indy 500.
yeah,
So now we were trying to make up and be like, okay, this is going to be when we kick off the summer little mini staycation over at Splashway. But now it's postponed because of the weather. So we'll go in a couple weeks. But kids are looking forward to that. It's if you're in the Houston area, it's definitely a place to check out. Especially, I would say, the kids are getting older. So, 10 and 14, we'll still have a lot of fun. But I really do think if you're in the age of that 5 to 10, it's prime.
No, I think it's even older because Splashway, it's one of those water parks. Every single year they add on new stuff, and lately, the past few years, they've been adding these big water slides and kind of revamping the whole park. The owners of Splashway are really awesome whenever it comes to planning new rides and stuff, and they've made that place a destination. I mean, it's about an hour and a half outside, southwest of Houston, a town called Sheridan. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because it started out as a campground where you can travel out there with your RV and stuff. And they have a few they have camping sites, RV sites,
cabins,
bunkhouses, tiny homes.
Oh, the new tiny homes are so adorable.
Yeah, they are super
kind of been
cute.
the newest addition of the last couple years, but they're so cute. But it has grown.
And then the water park's awesome. But then they also have all these things in the evenings whenever the water park closes, just for fun stuff that you can do with your family.
And stuff.
There's activities.
Outdoor
there's
movies.
Yeah, they have an outdoor kind of like a drive-in movie theater. Which you can rent. You can rent or bring your own golf carts and stuff. They have all these golf carts there to rent. You can drive around the property. You're free to bring your own in if you want. But
there's just a lot of fun kid extra activities to do once the water park
mini
closes.
golf there.
Yeah, huge park. There's sand volleyball. There's the big jumpy blow up mat.
Kind of land blob.
Land blob. Yeah, that's a good word. You can fish, you can kayak, it's a great little getaway.
We really enjoy it.
Especially around the Houston surrounding
Every
area,
time we've been, we have an absolute blast, and it's just fun family memories.
Mm-hmm.
It's just super family oriented.
We always play Bean Boozle in the cabin. Literally Ava brought that up today. She's like, well, it's okay if it rains. We'll just play Bean Boozle. And I'm like, we always play Bean Boozle. It's kind of where we first started playing Bean Boozle.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, we're just going to go. It's going to rain most of the time. So let's just postpone it a couple weeks. And
it's always a funny game to play with family.
Yeah. If you've never played Bean Boozle, you got to do it. It's literally this jelly bean game with, it either has a good, it might be a green jelly bean. It's a good flavor or a bad flavor. It might be fruit, pear is this one, or it might be boogers. And you don't know until you try it, and you have a little spinny wheel, and it tells you what color to pick.
Eggs or popcorn.
It is literally, it's so fun. And we die laughing as many times as we played it. It's still funny every time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's jump into a little connect card here. You want to, I'm going to ask you first.
So just draw one and give it to you?
Yeah. What areas of your life have you been affirmed in lately? Pretty deep question. So these cards, we just ask each other kind of conversation starters and topics where I ask him a question and he answers, and then he asks me a question and I answer. Typically, we don't answer the same question, but Adam's question today is, what areas of your life have you been affirmed in lately?
I think it'd probably center around work, networking, and creating relationships and just kind of building different relationships and networking and stuff. And, I've had a few people lately affirm and man, glad you were a part of that conversation, or, and even in like photography and stuff, it's like, man, like it's always awesome having you here. 'Cause you get like just these great, like candid moments of certain things. Drawback to that is I never get any photos of myself usually, but
Hold the roll. You do. You just don't. They're not with your camera at times.
yeah,
So
like
you're,
everybody else
you're
has like
intimidating.
really awesome photos, and then
It's intimidating.
I've got a few iPhone pics every now and then. But yeah, we had like a lot of like really cool conversations, especially this past weekend at Indy 500, and just like networking. Like Good Ranchers, we sponsor on Fox, like across the board, Fox Sports, Fox News, Fox, like all the things, and Fox like runs all the IndyCar stuff as well. And we did a Fox and Friends segment and stuff, and we got to kind of rub shoulders and like network with like a lot of the Fox executives and stuff, and brought up some cool ideas and and future things that we can do, future endeavors and stuff that we can do with them. And it was just some cool conversations to be a part of. Really neat people to meet that kind of pull a lot of the strings high up at Fox and stuff. But yeah, it's always fun. I did that a lot with my former career.
Yeah, I was about to.
But now it's like, and then I went through this season of, working for myself and kind of just being by myself, which whenever you don't flex those muscles as much, you kind of like flounder a little bit and aren't really used to, those kind of conversations. But the more and more you do it, the better you become with it. And so, just being very involved with like Good Ranchers and stuff, I've had like a lot of those opportunities, doing a lot of traveling and stuff with them, and doing a lot of special events and stuff with them. And so it's been cool to flex those muscles again. And, something that I really enjoy, but it's just forcing yourself into situations that you don't, kind of like you have imposter syndrome a little bit. You don't feel like you're really supposed to be in certain circles, but then you get affirmed from people that like, oh, thank goodness you were in that conversation. Because
and you've always been a people person.
Yeah.
Even back in the day when you were in outside sales, it was like you always were amazing networker, amazing on like growing depthness of the friendship or the quality of like what you were selling to a person. It wasn't just about a transaction. It was always about a relationship.
Yeah. Like me and my brother-in-law, like in my former career, he's still doing that kind of stuff. But like we would always kind of tag team, and I would be like more of the relationship guy and build like these stronger friendships with people. And then he would be more of the like, let's stay on task, let's stay focused. Like, what are we here for and stuff? And he was like more like all business.
The transaction. Yeah.
But it complemented each other very well, because, he would jump in and ask those tough questions, and then I would kind of be there to, like play both sides of it and like be the friend, like play that friendship part of it. And it worked really well. But, whenever you don't do it in a while, you just have to keep forcing yourself into those situations and flexing those muscles. And finally, things start coming around. You're like, okay, I'm comfortable at this again. And I'm getting there. I'm not quite back where I used to be, but I feel like I'm getting there. Yeah. And I'm enjoying it. I like it a lot. Yeah, for sure.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
Are you going to fan them out to me so you can see all of them?
Oh, I picked it up.
I'm going to pick the one I can read at the bottom. Just kidding.
Is there anything in your life that you don't have peace about right now?
Oh, I said don't be hard. What do I not have peace about?
Dropping bombs.
Well, I mean, we've kind of talked about this in the past couple episodes, here and there, just how we're going through like this big change of like how we feel like God's kind of like taken our life, dumped it upside down, and like shaking it and weeding out things that aren't kingdom driven or minded, or where we're kind of needing to weed out a lot of like, I wouldn't say bad or negative, just we're in a season of change, I think. And so having peace is something that when you're in a season of change, having peace is what affirms those decisions. And so we have had some peace through a lot of some of these transitional things. But I think where I don't have peace right now is when I think about kids in school. So I'm kind of feeling pulled and struggling on something I've never really had to really second guess and think about. But I think my eyes have been more open to what does school look like and what does school really mean.
But also, it's like twofold, because there could be a chance that our kids may be going to a different school altogether anyway. Yeah,
but I think there was a post or something about Kourtney Kardashian saying like, school is so outdated or something like that. Like, why do we put our kids through school? It's so outdated. It was something on the lines of that.
A little bit of that is true. I think there's a lot of stuff that's just
I resonate
wasted time in school for sure.
I resonate with that, and I'm sure that there was a lot of like hit towards her comments or like her statement, but I resonate with that currently in thinking I kind of agree with it a little bit, because what is school and what is the value of school and what's the purpose of school and how does it affect your life and what are you doing with your kids around that? And so to me, school's always been, this is where you go. This is what you do. This is where you learn. This is, so your parents can go to work and it's 7-8 hours a day and blah, blah, blah. But now that we have our own kids and we are putting our kids in school, Blake will be starting her freshman year of high school and the Quints are going to be starting their last year of elementary school. So as they're getting older, and I don't like take away or regret anything that we've done school wise, but I think I'm now looking at school a different lens as my heart has been more expanded to like, what does God really view us? And I'm talking about Busby's us. How does he want us to view school and how does he want us to raise our kids? We can't change anything that we've done, but this switch in me has gone off and said, I feel like we should be doing something different. So I don't have peace about this situation that I feel like God's opened my eyes to.
Well, it's funny because like you go into like now, like this circle of friends that we're in right now, a lot of them are going the route of like co-op homeschooling. And so it's not just like your kids are just at home and you're homeschooling at home. It's like a co-op. So
yeah. Or some of them have done the co-op and now they go to an actual like public school, or they've gone to public school and they've pulled them to co-op, or some of their kids do co-op and some of their kids go to public school. Yeah. So I just have never kind of like fully looked into like what is best for that child in a sense versus this is how school is perceived. And this is how I've done school and we've done school and this is what school is. So something God's kind of put on my heart and something I've just been praying about. And like, I don't really have like the full piece about a change of something to do differently. Yeah. And so that's really where I sit on, I don't have peace about this is what we should be doing, keeping it, or peace about should we change something. So.
Yeah, because you see like even the people that we know of that are like homeschooling, and like the more that you look into it, most of the stuff that they're doing in school wise, they're finishing they have about 3 hours of school a day and they're getting in everything that they need. And you're just looking at that and you're like, man, like how much of our kids' day is just like wasted on just like,
but it's not
on like the status quo of like, we're doing this because we've always done it this way. And is it the best way to go about teaching your kids?
think I have
the best format for teaching kids and stuff like that. I mean, public schools are doing the same thing that they've pretty much done for, generations now. It's pretty much done the exact same way. And, is it the best way? I look at, school growing up. Yeah, other than like the basic reading, writing, arithmetic, stuff like that. And if your intention isn't going further in higher education to get a specific job where you need more of like science oriented stuff or in the medical field or whatever, I look at what I'm doing nowadays. Like, I don't really need much of that schooling or much college after school,
or
doing what I do now. In like photography and a lot of the stuff and like marketing and stuff. A lot of that stuff, it's learning like algorithms and like how things, what works and stuff in this particular climate and like this culture and stuff right now. And you're constantly evolving. So like stuff you would have learned in school, it's hard to make it even really apply to like, okay, what's happening right now and what works right now and all this stuff. Cause you constantly have to be changing and stuff that I would have learned, 20 plus years ago at school.
Well, I think
it's all stuff that I didn't really need.
Yeah. And if you really take it back, the world here today in America and how we do school is we need a place. Parents need to work. So kids go to school for long periods of times. But if you look in other countries and whatnot, like schooling is a couple hours and then you're doing things as a family or for the family or in, more physical needed things as a family. And I don't know. We could have a whole topic about this, but that was my answer. I don't really have a piece about do we need to change something or keep it the same or like whatever that might look like. So thanks for asking.
I went down this rabbit hole last night in bed. I finished watching like that playoff game and like I pulled up my phone. I was about to put it on the charger and I just happened to like look at Instagram to check something real quick. And this family got like kind of pushed to me in my feed. And it was this family that's like sailing on a sailboat, a family of 6. They have some young kids or whatever, and they're sailing around the world and they're doing all their schooling and everything on the boat. And, but they're having like all these like awesome family experiences and like learning all these different cultures and stuff. And, everywhere that they stop but also like having these super meaningful days. These kids wake up and, they read their Bible and they journal and then they're learning all these other things, through homeschool, but also, whenever they're hopping from country to country and making all these stops and like learning all these different
things. Don't take me on a boat to sell the world, but I'll sell the world, just not on a boat.
Oh, it looks great until you watch a video of them getting caught in a horrible storm.
Oh, geez.
You're like, oh God, that does not look fun.
No.
And like what they do through that.
But there is a lot of more freedom, and I love that aspect of like the freedom of like family time being on our pace of travel or whatever. So that's something else that we've been, when we talk about change and what God wants next for us, we're in this phase of life change, but also would love something like that, but don't know what that would really look like.
I remember a few years ago,
you're full of stories today.
I remember a few years ago, we were like looking at just selling everything and converting a bus and just traveling around the
That
United
was not
States.
Literal. That was...
I was literal about it. Just living on a big like tour bus that we converted into a house and going from national park to national park. And
it's fun. I'd do it for a season, but
it looked like a lot of fun.
No matter what, I still need like a homestead. Like I need a place to like plant.
Go back to.
Yeah, go back to. But so, so we're going to roll into some topics of like friendship, adulting and having, being adults and friends. I feel like it's a common struggle amongst adults, whether you grew up with like a solid group of friends, or you've had to relocate as an adult because like job placement or whatnot, and you're just having to find who are my friends and are they really my friends? Did a really good study a couple years ago. Jenny Allen has like a good study about friendship, and there's a book called wow, I just had like a amazing brain fog, but it's I'll be there, but I'll be wearing sweatpants. So that's the book. Go find it. And I feel like it does not matter if you have amazing friends, you don't have friends, you're longing for friends. Like, I think every woman specifically should read that book. And they also have a book, something that I think at the the teen one is about like, I'll be there and we'll be making like friendship bracelets or something like that. But it is just so good. So good. But speaking of that, we're going to talk about like just differences of friendships and how to find like real quality friends. I mean, we're in our 40s, we're at midlife, and both of us, I would say, friendships have changed from who we grew up with to before we were parents to friends with parents to being married for like, almost 20 years, and kids are getting older. And so what does that look like with friendships? So that's what we're going to talk about. Friendships.
Let's talk about it.
Finding and keeping friends. So I think because now if I set the tone of like, we're in our 40s, like we're going to kind of talk about that there, like friendship in your 40s, friendship with people who aren't married, friendships with people who are single or like-minded, or you have friends because it's just your kids' parents, your kids' friends' parents. So like there's this whole bubble of like, who are your friends? Like who really are your friends? And I think to answer that question, I would say my real friends are the friends that I feel like I could call any time of the day, any time of the night.
Yeah, and they'd answer.
And they'd
drop whatever they were doing. Well, if you're calling them in the middle of the night, they're probably sleeping, but they would still jump.
Would they pick up the phone because it's that time of the hour, or would they say, oh, I'll pick it up in the morning or something like that, For me, as a woman, I need friendship as a replenishment to my soul. Someone in a group of women that I can do life with that constantly want to make me better, encourage me, fill me with.
I don't think that that's just a woman thing.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is that that's part of what me specifically I need as my own specific, like who I am. I need to have girl time to replenish my stresses. And kind of like last week, we got on a tangent about talking about like the bathtub and my time and your time and blah, 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 blah.
Let's not get back on that.
Friendship to me is another one of my avenues of what replenishes me. I need girl time to remember that I'm a friend and I can be funny and I, just want to go get my nails done, like things that I can't specifically do or say or whatever with my husband. I need that time weekly with my friends. And I say that as a woman because I don't think that you feel like you need that.
I don't feel like I need it as much, but also, it goes back to like just feeling like, I don't know if it's just because of my specific situation, because of what I do and primarily work from home and stuff like that. I feel like everything that needs to be done, there's like almost not enough time in the day. And I'm like constantly working on something, or I constantly need to be working on something or whatever. And so a lot of times friendships kind of get put on the back burner because like, oh, I'm not going to stop in the middle of the day and go have lunch because then that's going to be 4 hours. And then I'm not going to get that time back because then I got to make that time up whenever in the evening, whenever I either need to be cooking dinner or whatever. And that all just kind of goes away. And so, I mean, with me, it's just harder. Like today, I mean, it feels weird having the kids in the house because, I mean, work doesn't stop. Like you just think whenever kids are at home, like you need to kind of see what they're doing and kind of tend and feel like you need to interact or whatever with them. But then, work doesn't stop. And so like, it just feels weird whenever kids are at home, families at home, and then you're like locked in your office. But I mean, that's
I don't lock you in there.
That's like my job. I mean, like I still like today.
You still have work to do. Yeah.
I was working on projects all day
you're
today.
Going on a tangent.
I'm not really going on a tangent. I'm just going on like, this is my life, my situation. It's just a little different.
But we're talking about friendship.
I know. And that directly involves friendship. That's why I don't get that time as much.
Okay. My stomach is growling. But to the question of you don't feel like you need it, I know that it's one of my de-stressors is girl time. Wakey.
I'm just listening.
Oh.
I'm like.
So for you so what you were going on to was talking about you don't allot yourself time for that because you as the man in the relationship says, I have to work. I don't have time to set apart from that during my work day, because if I do, then I'm going to have to pick up work when I'm at home. But then you don't make time for it in the evenings because then you say, I will be taking time away from the family.
Yeah.
So it's a circle, and this is what I'm saying.
But
it's a circle that you have to make time.
I mean, obviously, this day and age, things are changed a little bit, but even still, I mean, for the most part, the man's role is like to provide. So, like most of my friends, they work most of the day. So, like, I don't really have that in the middle of the day. And so it's more difficult. Like a lot of your friends, they are a little bit more lenient on being able to like get away during the middle of the day and like go do something or have a Bible study or something like that. Like those are like women's things to do. Those are like women's organized things to do. Like,
but that's not a true statement, babe.
Men generally are not able to do that.
But I feel like we might get a little heated right now, but that it is a false statement. That's a lie because men can. It's called making time for it. You're going to eat some lunch today. You're going to like it's a quick call. Like it's all about like men do Bible studies. Men have groups together. It's about allotting that time to do it once a week, or it's not as you don't have to carry the weight of like every day I have to set time apart. It is very, to me, I tell myself I need time once a week. Maybe I'm able to, have moms in pickleball and prayer time or have coffee, but I'm also making time for that in adjusting.
Because if I tried to schedule one of those things, I would get 99% no's because I'm at work at that time. Yeah.
You're saying if you were to say that to other men?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then if that time doesn't work, then you have to be like, let's try an evening one time or lunch. Like it has to be things that are planned. That's the whole thing, is that like in our household, like I plan these things. If you want me to start planning some like guide times for you, if you want it, I will totally do it. But anyway, I don't know why we're going off on that, but I think it is very different that, I consider and say like women are better at finding women time than men are finding men time, because in your instance, you're saying because the man has the headset of provide, so I must work. But there also is a super big value of making time, just like you have to make time for your wife, just like you have to make time for your kids. Making time for a man friendship, guy time is also important.
Mm-hmm. And you has to be a little bit more methodical.
Yeah.
And planned out for sure.
Yeah. And I don't think that men allow themselves to think that that's important.
Yeah. We just can't have a Tuesday mid-morning pickleball. It just doesn't work. Nobody will come. It's true.
Then do it on Saturday. because you wouldn't pick Tuesday. Anyway, so.
I mean, I'm just kind of playing like husband's advocate here because it's not as easy. It's not as easy.
You just have to.
That's why
the
men,
outside of the
I mean,
outside
that's why you
of time.
hear that a lot of times from like wives or whatever. It's like, yeah, my husband has a hard time like finding like a close friend or something like that because it's not as easy for a man because there's so many other responsibilities for a man. And yes, and I'll say it again because I'm going to get a lot of hate. Like, oh, women work too, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I was about to say that. I have if you take friend Nicole, she is a teacher. She can't have the means to.
But I look at like my circle of friends and like, I mean, they all work during the week, work all day during the week. And that's whenever they have to work. And then it's usually nights and weekends. That's family time. And so it's harder. And so, yeah, you do hear a lot of that from wives. Oh, my husband finds it hard. I know,
but I think us women and wives need to allow that once a week separation, or maybe it's twice a month, like where it is, as long as it is a pre-scheduled thing, then the wife needs to be able to say like, yes, you can have that. And I'm not talking like we're going to the bar hopping and all those. It's not hanging out like that. It is like quality friends. But men are going to go like have a drink or play golf or whatever, like on Saturday. And it's just, you got to find a balance between one, your intimate family to be able to allow yourself to have. Me as a wife, a mom who has her own schedule and can plan that. Like I can do these things while kids are at school and you're at work. I can make time for that even though I do work, but I also know that I need that. So in a situation where I look at Nicole, she's like works all day, teacher, and she can't be involved with the things that we do during the day. So we have to make a priority monthly or try as best we can to do something in the evening, which goes to your point, takes away from family time. But as long as you can communicate this with your spouse and be like, hey, put this on the calendar. I'm going to have girl time in the evenings on this day because these friends can't come. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Women need to let their husbands do the same.
Yeah.
Just like husbands need to let their wives do the same if it's going to fall in an evening, So it's not about you get to do this, you get to do that, or you're always doing that and you're always doing that. It's about how do we allow each other to have that space.
But I do get that a lot from husbands.
Yeah.
That like you'll try to plan something or you'll do something and it's always like last minute. Oh, but like my wife's had a hard time with the kids, blah, blah, blah. And like they're almost like hit with guilt for leaving.
Yeah. And I think we both could relate to that.
And that's always like a letdown because like you have this thing planned and then like right at the last second because the wife's having a bad day or the kids are, and now they can't do it.
It's just it's very hard.
That happens a lot.
But that's where I'm saying we have to be more firm in when we book something, we must attend. Like consistency, we talk about this in small group. Yeah. Consistency matters. So if you say you're going to go and have something in one evening, but you had a horrible day, the kids were bad, you need your husband home to help, whatever, we just need to suck it up and say, I know, I still want you to go. Kids are going to get to bed. You still go. I know it's a bad day. Maybe you had a bad day at work and you don't want to come home to these kids being like this. Well, it's like we just need to stay consistent with our bookings. And I know like our days, we plan our days and 99% of the day, something's going to happen and change. But we've got to do our best to stay consistent for the family, because you are going to be a better person if you go and get encouraged and lifted and prayed for with your men's group.
Yeah.
Or men quality time. Same with me. So I know a lot of people might not understand this, but if you can make sure that you're consistent with what you planned, then that is where fruit will be like grown. Mm-hmm. Even if it was a hard day.
Yeah.
We've both had those. We can speak a lot on today sucked and I need you here, but you gotta you got to look at it from the other side too. And that's kind of the point I'm getting at, is that.
Or maybe it's just because I'm going to throw a lot of my friends under the bus because they don't make that a priority. Because I feel like they
so that's where
back out last minute constantly.
Yeah, but that's where I want to speak to the wives.
I'll look forward to that for like a week. And like, oh yeah, this day we're like, guys are getting together, and all of a sudden it just falls apart within a few hours before it starts.
Yeah, and so that's where I speak to
the
wives.
And it's usually because the wife is like complaining about something. And they're like,
so the wife, shut your mouth
bad
and let them go.
Because like she's complaining because the kids are unruly today or blah, blah, blah. And they always end up
it's a fair thing. It's a fair thing. But that's where I want to say to the wives, don't put that guilt on your husband, because you too will have a day where you were meant to go out with your friends and he will say the same thing and you were going to have to cancel. No, we got to give each other the grace and the space to have that time, because we know it's hard to come by. We are growing people who are growing up, and friendships get harder and harder. And when you find, and we'll talk about how to find, when you find a solid group of friends that can encourage you, be there for you in good times and bad times, you can have fun with, and your spouse agrees with the quality of those people, then you've got to let them have the space to grow those friendships.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think like in our relationship, like we have that problem. It's just a lot of the guys, no, I'm talking about like if there's something scheduled or whatever, like no matter like how the kids are that day, you'll let me leave.
Yeah. Well, it's been something it
may be hard, but that should be a priority, and you'll still like hold me to that. But then it's usually on my end, they get a lot of guilt and they just will buckle and just stay home. And so,
well, okay, wives, listen to that. But also too, husbands, listen to that, because the wives do need space. There's that stigma of, I work all day as the husband, as the dad, and you're at home with the kids and you get to do whatever you want. No, it is hard working all day as a woman, as a mom. It's hard being a stay-at-home mom. Like, no matter what your day of work and whatever your day is filled with, we all need a breath. We all need a set of, okay, me and you. Like, it is okay. No matter what your work day was, no matter how hard your day was. Like,
we're lecturing.
I am, because I feel like so many relationships need to know this and need to
for sure.
hear it.
Yeah.
They do. They need it.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that like husbands and wives definitely need to work on. It's just allowing your spouse to prioritize friendships. If they do have something scheduled, like allowing them that freedom to be able to get away and not guilt them into not doing it or not following through. And because I mean, it's something that I see a lot. Like, just like I said, I mean, we'll have something scheduled and it always ends up falling apart within a few hours. And I'm usually like, me or one other person is usually the only like still in. And then it's just like, well, what's the point now? Because 70% of this group isn't coming now. And it's just, so we're like, we'll reschedule.
Yeah.
And
but yeah.
So it just makes it hard,
I agree.
I think it's just something that husbands and wives definitely need to work on together, and just like allowing each other to have that and make it a priority for sure.
So when we talk about friendship and we're talking about like going and hanging out with the people, I'm talking about a friendship that is a good friendship, not just
people that will speak life.
Yeah. So what is good friendship? What does a real friendship look like to you?
Yeah.
And that is, a real friendship is someone who is going to call you back and point you back to Jesus.
Ask you those harder questions, stuff that
make you uncomfortable.
Most guys don't really want to talk about, like, okay, how are you doing? Like, what's going on at home? Is there anything that like you need to just get off your chest and stuff like that? Because a lot of guys will just not talk about it. Mm-hmm. We'll just say, what's up? What's going on? How was your day? Oh, it's good. And then just like kind of talk about sports or, whatever, and just keep it very surface level. But, just asking those harder questions, asking those more thought-provoking questions whenever you're there, and really, openly and genuinely care about, like, man, like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's genuine.
Yeah. And I mean, a real friendship doesn't mean how many friends do I have? It doesn't mean a number. It means what is the depthness of the friendship? How true, how real, how authentic is that person? Because depthness trumps quality over quantity, right?
Yeah.
So I could have the greatest true friendship, and I have a bubble of, maybe like 3 to 4, maybe 5 people that I would say is like those people, the solid friendship that points you back to Jesus, will call you out, will tell you no, will not, it's those type of friendships that are very hard to come across. But you gotta allow yourself to ask the question to someone, the hard question of like, man, but how do you really, how are you feeling? What can I pray for you about?
Or not just like affirm your frustrations.
Yeah. Affirm. Yeah.
You don't want someone that's just always just going to like agree with you about everything. They're going to ask you those questions. Well, why do you feel that way? Or why are you upset? Maybe you had an argument with your husband and they actually want to hear about it because, you may be wrong, and they're going to call you out on it or give you a different perspective than something you may have missed.
Yeah. And
we have a lot of friends like that, as couples or whatever, where it's funny because you and the husband may have the same personality traits. And then it may be like me and the other wife may have those same personality traits. So it's funny because like you can, whenever you're speaking with that, that friend, you're having a conversation with the wife or I'm having a conversation with the husband, like you can kind of give the other perspective because like, oh, well, I'm more like the spouse. But
I can give you a response based around a woman's perspective, but would probably connect more with how your husband is receiving this struggle or whatever.
Yeah, and his personality. But you may understand like where they're coming from a little bit more and give a little bit more insight and into their personality and what they may be feeling. If you find a friend that's just constantly just affirming how you feel constantly and just agreeing with everything, it may not be a great friend, Yeah. So.
Yeah. And there's different levels of friendship. I think different mixes of friendships. You are going to have maybe friends that you grew up with or friends that are just, you're connected via family wise, or friends that are, parents of kids that your friends are kids with. And there's a level of friendship. So we can be friends with anybody, right? But walking life with a true friend is going to bring joy and understanding and peace in your life, unlike any other friendship, right? So how to find that friend, you're going to find that friend and you're going to be able to keep that friendship. And if that friendship is solid with the foundation of like, we both love Jesus, I'm telling you, you're going to see friendship of a different level. And it takes courage to really get to that step in a friendship, especially as an adult. Like if you're someone who's moved into a different city and you don't know anybody, you're like, here I am trying to make friends again in my 40s, and that sucks, but you're going to have to put yourself out there. Yeah. You're going to have to get yourself involved, put yourself in a community, maybe start, if you've got kids, start trying to connect with other, parents in PTA or swim team or baseball. And, but it's going to take you being more than the parent of your kid.
Yeah.
Right. To be that friend.
Yeah.
You're going to have to
let your kid be your identity.
Yeah. You're going to have to talk and ask about like, So do you go to church? Do you, have like real depth conversations, be vulnerable, because that's what's going to connect you more. Also want to kind of throw out there that there can be unhealthy friendships. And so be aware of those. If people make you uncomfortable, if you feel like you're getting spoken about unhealthy, or talked about behind your back, like, do not accept that. Allow boundaries to come into play to where you are okay not being involved in those situations. You're okay to speak up for yourself and go one-to-one if you're being talked about behind your back. I mean, this still happens not just with teens or kids. This happens as adults too. And so don't stand for nothing less than what you would want for your own kids, So boundaries are okay. Boundaries are okay.
Actually, we were having... just me and a group of guys were talking a few weeks ago, and I think it was actually Ben that brought this up. It was, because you get in, you have these friends that constantly want to complain or constantly just have something going on that's just like,
like the ones like that get around you and you're like, oh Lord, it's all we're going to hear about.
And so he said Ben was talking about how he put something in place where if that one person just keeps coming, and it's just like every time you talk to him, it's just like something negative or something wrong's going on or blah, blah, blah. And it's never like looking at the bright side of it, never, looking a little bit more deeper. It's just like always in the negative. He's like, I'm just going to stop them right there and say, okay, let's just pray about that. Like stop them in their tracks and like, let's just pray about that. Let me pray for you for that. And then just end it. It's almost like retraining that person. Yeah, you don't want to. It's hard. It's hard to be around somebody like that. That's just constantly. You're gonna have friends that go through seasons where they're in a rough time, but even in the not a tough season, they just look to the negative on everything. Those are just hard people to be around, and so you just try to find people that are like fighting for joy and looking for the meaning behind something and looking for the positivity in things and seeing around that. It's not just focusing on the negative, because those people will just bring you down.
Yeah. Yeah. So boundaries are okay. Speaking up for yourself is okay. If there is unsettling, what's the word?
You're going to make up more.
I'm about to make up a word.
Danielle, thinking about homeschooling. She's just constantly making up words.
Hello Lord. To the...
You're full with a house of girls that just make up stuff. That's why we co-op.
That's hilarious. But boundaries are okay and boundaries are healthy across the board. So anyways, I hope that some of you can resonate and feel encouraged by some of these things that we've said. If you're feeling lonely, I want to tell you that right now, when you stop listening to this, I want you to pray for God to bring the right people into your life, because it is a prayer that I've prayed. It's a prayer that we've prayed for our friendships within our family and our, marital friendships. And I believe that God will put people in your life that will be meant to be there in the time needed.
Yeah, for such a time as this.
Yes, so for such a time as this. And so thanks for listening. I glad y'all joined us today. And I just hope that y'all have fun listening to our rambling, made up words and insight that we have.
Yeah, I hope y'all get some positivity out of that, not just me ranting about other dads. That don't make things a priority.
Yeah, so keep it real.
Yeah, make your friendship a priority.
Yeah,
and find those times, because everybody needs it. Husbands needs it. Wives need it.
So next week when we come on here, I'm going to ask you, what did you do for your friendships this week? So I'm testing all y'all, but I'm going to make sure that you do it too. You don't just say it, you have to do it. So you have a week, and I'm going to ask you.
We should challenge you guys too.
That's what I just said. We're going to challenge them too.
Not just me. I think everybody needs to be challenged with this.
Find a time for the week and you're going to do something with a friend, whether it's coffee, lunch, dinner, glass of wine, having a family over to eat at your house, you are going to do something intentional with a friend. So
sounds good.
You and you and you and you and you.
All right. So thanks you guys for listening to episode 35 of More Than Reality Podcast.
Peace out.
We'll see you in the next one. We love you guys.